Hey guys, Amanda here. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of Peer2Peer. This is my podcast. I'm Amanda from Foster Decor Consulting. I'm super excited you're here because I have a lot of juicy tips that are sure to help your interior or e-design business. If you have any special requests, feel free to email me or DM me for topic ideas. I'm super excited to learn what the community needs help with, as that's what I do, is help my interior and e-design peers. If you have any questions, feel free to also ask away so we can also get to know each other and connect. Super excited you're tuning in. Thank you so much. All right. Hi, guys. Welcome to Peer2Peer. I'm Amanda, as you guys know, from Foster Decor Consulting, and we have a very special guest today. Katie, can you introduce yourself and your business because it rocks?
Yes. Hi, everybody. My name is Katie Walker, and I'm the owner and lead interior designer of Slate Studios Interior Design. We're based in Tampa, Florida, and we really specialize in full service design, where we offer white glove for all of our clients so that they can sit back and relax, and we handle all of the challenging moments for their projects for them. Everything from design to installation.
Yeah, and I mean, I really loved working with your business because it was all about the luxury part. Like, you really put the luxury in that, not just in the decor, but just the way that you help your clients to just literally sit back and have a martini.
Yeah, that's a big part of what we do. I think with my ideal client, I kind of consider myself my ideal client now, the more I think about it. We're busy. Like, we're probably a busy professional, maybe own a business, or maybe we've got kids. It's like everything in life is going on. And so the most valuable thing that we have is our time. And so we're finding ways to outsource to other people that can help us gain back some of our time. And so that's what we do with full service design. And also, design is stressful, as we all know. Decision paralysis is real. So we take the guesswork out and that indecisiveness for our clients so they can feel like, okay, Katie and her team, they understand me, so they can trust us to make the best decisions for them and their family.
And I want to ask a follow-up to that is, how is your business different from some of those other luxury interior design that are also full service? Like, what makes you guys different?
So the thing that really sets us apart is the soul searching. Like, we're very authentic to our clients. It's personal. I mean, we're learning details about our clients that they don't even really share with some family or friends. It's an intimate experience because you're designing a space for someone. It's their home. That's their sanctuary. So I think that's the biggest differentiator is we joke, and we put this in our branding, is that you can also consider me like your design therapist, because I'm gonna dig deep with you with my clients and get to know their past, present, and future, so we can design a space that's really tailored to them.
Perfect. And I mean, I kind of already knew because you and I have worked very extensively on your ideal client and who that target audience was, because remember years ago, like it feels like forever, when we first started working together, you approached me to do probably just the branding, right? Just a website or branding. And I was the one who pushed you to okay, we need to go all the way back and get to that foundation of your actual dream business, because it didn't seem like you were really targeting your ideal client. And like you said, now that you've discovered it, it's a lot about you. And we got very authentic, and personal, and learning details about you and how to really kind of pivot your business in a whole new direction.
Yeah, that is, I couldn't have said it better. And sometimes when I think about it, I kind of get emotional because it was life-changing. Really, when we worked together, you helped me, and you're right, I wanted to start in the middle. No, we need to go back to the beginning.
No, you had an established business. I mean, how many years were you in business at that time? 4,
Yeah, I
maybe
think
5.
yeah. Well, I had launched my new firm in 2020. And so when we started working together, like I have all this experience, but the firm was new to me. Being the owner and marketing and figuring out like how I wanted to position
all the hats.
Yeah, that was really new to me. So, but yeah, I do. I kind of get emotional when we think about it because it was so like a pivotal moment for my business, for me to be authentic, to not second guess myself. It's like now I know exactly who I am, exactly who I'm serving, and like what I do best.
Yes, I love that. And I'm so glad that you were open to that because I work with mostly women who have been in business at least 15 years, you know, where they're not willing to sometimes compromise on like, wait, I don't want to go all the way back. But those that do, like you, benefit from that because it is eye-opening to be like, wait, I don't have to just keep doing, we called it, remember, the vanilla.
Yes.
So the vanilla projects for the vanilla clients, and sorry you guys out there, but you know, we also need to niche down, and not just as interior designers, but any kind of business that wants to be a bit more successful and for it to be a bit more fruitful. So it's nice to know, like, I helped with that.
Totally. And there's so much power in knowing who your ideal client is, because where I was at was like, I think a lot of people is our businesses grow and grow and grow. We get more projects, we keep taking on new things. But when you know who you're serving and what your brand is about, it gives you that power to turn down the wrong projects, to elevate and grow in the right direction. And that was something too that you helped push me to do, because I'm like, oh God, you know, the projects come in and you're like, well, I have to pay the bills. You know, I've got overhead, I've got operating expenses, like, you know,
you have a mortgage.
Exactly. And so it's sometimes it's scary to turn down the wrong fit or the wrong client, but it doesn't help you grow in the right direction. So while as designers, I think a lot of us are yes people, you know, like I want to help everybody, but
guilty. We're both guilty.
We're still guilty of that. But I think it's important to take a step back and like really think through that and really understand your brand. And if you want to grow it in a certain direction, you need the projects that are going to help you get there.
Yes. And that was something that we did work on together, was the e-design component of your business. So you're not just full service, right?
Yes. So we also do e-design, but I call it virtual design or DIY. Which helps too. So some of those clients that may not be the best fit for full service, may not have it in their budget to really hire a full service designer, then we offer the DIY, where we design everything for them and then give them, you know, a pretty package with the shopping list so they can implement it on their own.
Right.
So yes. And I think that's important to have, you know, a different service offering, because those projects are great. They're usually shorter timeline. So it's nice to have some of those smaller things to fill in the gaps versus when you're working on, you know, big year-long projects. Yeah,
yes.
So good. You check one off the list every now and then.
Well, I actually was talking to a couple other interior designers that were more in the 20-year mark. And they were like, I want to get into e-design, but I just hear of these outrageous, you know, like $300 or $400 packages. And that's like what I charge, you know, for like an hour or 2-hour consultation. So I understand there's I don't know, maybe a stigma or just a scare when it comes to those kind of veteran designers figuring out how to do e-design without, I don't know, getting cheap is what they, you know, are fearful. And I totally get it. And that's where I talk to you and other designers of just what would make sense if you could only do 5 to 10 hours for a client who can't afford you, and you're doing this very mini package. And like you said, handing the baton off to them so that they can do a lot of the grunt work that, you know, you don't have to charge them for, with the white glove delivery and things like that. So I think I'm just trying to help, you know, e-design not be a scary thing or, full service like you. And that's why you're one of the people that I point to. I'm just like, look at Katie's website. Look, she has, she can offer both, because she's offering the, maybe you don't call it e-design, but it's still the online virtual will work together, and it'll be in a smaller size, right? It's a bite-sized package. So do you feel like you're cheated, or that, you're really stooping down and compromising? I mean, I hope not. I hope there's a happy balance to what you provide them and what they then carry, out themselves.
Now, that's a great question. I kind of look at it from a few different perspectives. So one, we still are in control, right? I still it's a mutual decision when the client decides they want to work with you, or you decide you want to work with the client, because I want to make sure that I can execute and put my best foot forward so that customer has a great experience. So with the e-design, if it's someone that just needs a few things here or there, or, maybe they're like, oh, I'm about to redo my kitchen, but I really need help on selecting materials or finishes. I need some guidance, but I have a general direction. I might charge hourly for that. And I might look at it like, okay, here's this customer. They live in this neighborhood. I want to do projects in this neighborhood. This customer, if I help them out in this hourly capacity, they have friends and neighbors. It's a name out there. So I am selective about those projects I take on, because it's, is it great when you're designing a kitchen, but you're only selecting light fixtures and countertops, and then they kind of put everything else together? I mean, we want to do the whole thing. That's a big part of my brand too, is it's holistic. It's everything. But that's my strategy behind that, is will this position me so that I can be more exposed to my ideal client in that, is it in that nice neighborhood that I want to work in? Or is it because they did tell me that they've got another area of the home coming up that they want to work on? And so it's me getting my foot in the door and establishing a relationship. There's a few reasons behind it, right? I'm not just going to do it out of the goodness of my heart necessarily.
Well, right. You need to be fair. And that's all that I ask the veteran, interior designers who are just so scared to undercharge. And it's just more of what is fair? How many hours? Could you do a small little mood board? Could you even just select 5 or 8 products and just, leave it at that? And if they want more, you charge more. But I think with the big e-design companies that have taken over, it's just I can't compete with that. And for you, it's no, you don't have to, because they go to your website, they see your social media, they see that authenticity that you now have. You put Katie out there. You have so much personality now in your online marketing that it's okay, you know who Katie is. And if you want to work with her, she has these 2 different avenues that you can do that with. Instead of just oh, well, the e-design companies are going to just take all those clients. No, not necessarily.
Still want something more personal, and I don't do packages. It's not okay, it's a flat rate for this room for virtual. It's still okay, what's the scope of work? Let me understand what's happening, and I'll charge a fair fee for that work. But I will say too, if maybe this helps people feel less intimidated by it, there are things that are a good fit and things that are not. So I won't design a kitchen or bathroom through e-design. There's way too many details. That doesn't make sense. But will I do one living room? Yes. I'd love to design the entire living room for someone. So, you still are in control, and it's not that you're making less money. Absolutely not. You need to charge your value, and the client, it needs to be a win-win for you and the client. So what are you offering that's different than, the e-design quick turnaround businesses of the world? Because as designers, we're ingrained differently with the full service approach. So figure out what makes you different from those packages. And I think people can be really successful with it.
I love that. Thank you so much. Okay, so you guys heard it from Katie, who is full service, that it's okay to, have and explore different packages or non-packages. Like, it's still custom through you if they do it online.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, cool.
Everything, the way we position ourselves is we can charge less because much of the work is done remotely, or we don't have to be on site taking field measures, taking inventory. Like we don't have as many meetings involved. So there's less kind of admin work so that we can charge a better rate. So I think that would also be something you need to look at, is what things are absolutely necessary for you to provide a virtual design. We're not doing in detail drawings or sections. Like, yes, we're telling the mounting heights, but it's not anywhere near in depth as a full service project would be.
Right. And I really like that how we positioned your social media and your website was to be like, this is all things Katie. Like, you're going to want to work with her or not work with her. And it's important to attract those right people, right? And repel all those, what I call time wasters, that you just feel, remember how you said you just felt guilty just to say yes. And I'm so excited to hear, like, nope, I'm in charge. I'm turning people down, or I'm using it as, well, she might have some friends in this pretty neighborhood, right? Like, so now when you take on those online projects to get your foot in the door, do you send them some follow-up emails, like saying like, oh, that was such a nice little project. Here's like a referral bonus if you, tell your friends or something like that?
Oh yeah, I definitely stay in touch with them, and it's still personal. Like, we're still really getting to know that client. So we really do form a good working relationship. So I honestly go through the same touch points that I do, like the same conclusion of the project and client appreciation and thanking them and asking for reviews and feedback, because it is, we put a significant amount of like heart and soul in their project, even if it is virtual and DIY. So yes, I think, again, it's just all in the way that works for your business model. And that's what I found works best for me. But I will tell you, I am not even close to the Havenly package prices of the world for the virtual. Like, that just doesn't fit my business. So
good. Okay, everyone heard it. It's possible. And it's all custom. It can still remain custom. But Let's talk a little bit more about your business and how much it has grown since we've worked together. Like, oh my God, like, please update all of us on the beautiful growth you've endured. What, the last year and a half now?
Yeah, it's been about a year and a half. I think I was looking back on when we started working together, and I think it was just at the end of 2022. And then we did a lot of that heavy work, like the beginning of 2023. And so in that time, I haven't been so fortunate and blessed, and there's a lot of hard work involved. So,
yeah.
A lot of like luck and hard work. And we have grown. So I've now got 2 interior design assistants on the team. One is full-time, one is part-time. And it's great because that has allowed me to focus a little more on the business while I have some other, I've got support that can be doing the project work. And as the owner of the company, it's so important that we understand, our financials and evaluate our P&L and making sure that, the business is running like a business. And I have more time to do that now, which has just been amazing. I'm still heavily involved in every single project, of course, but it's really allowed me to just kind of like take a moment, breathe, know we got this, and it's not all one person wearing all the hats anymore.
Oh man, I'm just so excited for the new photo shoot that you had done with your new team. That was so cool, and they look like really fun people too. Do you guys all really get along? I'm assuming yes, but how's that work environment now that you're in a team versus, like you said, solo?
It's great. I really missed that collaborative environment. you know, as designers, we all have a different point of view and bring something different to the table with our background, our experience, kind of our personal style. So it's so great. I really believe that when you collaborate, it just makes the outcome that much better. And it has been really amazing. So Richa and Lori are just, they're like rock stars. We get along so well. They care just as much as I do about the process and making sure that the client is represented in the design. And so we get along great. We even joked the other day because, like, sometimes we're so in sync that we wear matching outfits without even trying. It's like, what is happening? How are we all wearing this again? Like,
oh, that is so cute. Okay, that right there says you guys are all in sync and are an awesome team and read each other's minds somehow.
Yeah, and it's great because, like I said, we do all have a different experience that we bring, which helps. You know, we all kind of look at a project a little differently, so it just makes the outcome that much better.
Oh, yay. I'm so excited for you. And what new projects have you been working on? Are there any that you can tell us about that you are super proud of?
Yeah, so we have a lot of exciting stuff going on, but one that I'm really excited about is this little condo that we're working on. It's like less than 1,000 square feet.
Ooh.
Tiny 2-bedroom, 1 bath. It's in this really amazing neighborhood in Tampa. It's like Old Hyde Park. And I think the reason I'm most excited about it is because the clients are dream clients. They're so trusting of us. They really value what we bring to the table. But it's so challenging because it is such a small space that every square inch matters. And I love those projects. So we've had to get very creative with our selections and, dual purpose furnishings and really planning out every single detail. So this one I'm very excited for this project.
Yeah, I'm thinking, it's not quite a dorm or anything like that, but, it's a little bit tighter of a space than I would think like 1,200 or 1,400 has that little extra breathing room and you're like getting in a little tight. So it's creatively challenging, right? Which then you come up with some better stuff than if you have like a mansion. I feel like when you have too much space, sometimes that gets even, okay, well, this seems easy. I'll just fill it all in. But when it's really tight, you're almost more proud of like, okay, now we're going to do this. Now we're going to do that. This is going to be triple duty, right?
Yeah, exactly. Every piece really matters. Like every piece needs to serve a purpose. It's not just for show. So how do you use that, function and form? Like, how do we also make it aesthetically pleasing, even though it needs to really serve a purpose? So that's been great. We love a good challenge.
Yes. And what's the vibe that you guys are going for with this tight space?
The vibe is, we're calling it timeless elegance. So the couple, they're about to be retiring. They have a love for so many different styles. So we've had to hone in on that.
Rein it in, right?
And we're also trying to design so that it's something that they never have to do again. So we're considering making sure the foundation is going to be chic and beautiful for years to come. And then also infusing a few little pieces of personality that could be changed out. So whether it's artwork or rugs, those are pieces that we could change over the years if they want to just mix it up. But I think that's what I love is this is the first project that it's like, okay, so much of this is wall space or cabinetry, so how do we make sure that since there's not a lot of soft furnishings, it's not feeling like hard or cold, how are we designing the architecture? Because that's really all there is. And someone's like, the kitchen's tiny. It's like, it's the smallest little kitchen I've ever designed. And so it's really been like all of the details are what matters. So I think that's exciting. The devil's in the details, and being able to just do something that's timeless and chic and always going to look good is, are right on brand for Slate Studios, because I believe if you select things that you love, if you love it today, you're going to love it tomorrow. Like, good design is timeless. We're not doing the trends. We try to avoid the trends here.
Well, I definitely agree with that in my own home. Now that we're actually not traveling all the time, that's something that I avoided. I just knew, like, we're going to be moving or we're going to be traveling. And now after COVID, we have been here for almost 3 years, or actually 3 years. So with the ORC, which you're also involved in and participating in, I've been trying to go room by room and use that to push me to actually design in my space. And that's something I always tried to tell clients, is just like, if you love it, like, you're not going to get tired of it. So don't try to design, to match that catalog or that new trend that just came out or what they're pushing in big box stores. Like, you have to find, and like you do with your clients, like, okay, well, what do you really like? Not what you think your wife likes or what you think your friends will like what is passionate to you, so we can reflect that in the space. And that's why my space is like bonkers. It's Pee-wee's Playhouse in here.
I love your space because it is so authentic. And I think, like, the best compliment that you can receive from a client is if they tell you friends and family come over and they're like, wow, this space is so you. Like, this space fits you, your personality, your vibe. That's a huge compliment. Then it's like, okay, check mark. Job well done. We nailed it.
Yes. Oh, well, I'm super excited to see the projects. And I know I get a sneak peek because I also update your website, but I'm just always excited. Like, what is she working on next? Like, because your projects from, when we first met were, as you called it, vanilla. And now they're so rich and elegant and authentic that it's become, like you said, creme brulee.
Yes, we ditched the vanilla. And I think it's not saying that the projects before weren't beautiful. I think they were. They just didn't really fit the direction that I wanted to take my brand. As designers, we have access to so many amazing things, and I want to be able to use those products and to design holistic spaces, from top to bottom. Like they say, the ceiling is the fifth wall. So I want to be able to design those details. I think that's what really makes a space feel luxe. And it doesn't necessarily have to break the bank. I mean, it's just a matter of understanding and having a good designer that can mix high and low items, but it has to be holistic. That's, and I think that was something that I wasn't focused on as much before we worked together.
Well, it's super exciting to see that you're doing that now. And you guys just went to High Point, right? A little field trip.
Yes, we were at High Point for 3 days, and it was amazing. So I brought my entire team because I feel like it is so important for us to know the lines that we're selling. I want to be knowledgeable in the product that I'm specifying for my clients. Like, you owe that to your customers, right? That's why they're enlisting you as a professional. So we can understand the construction, the quality, the price point to know what's the best fit for them. And so it was just great. We've got to visit, some new showrooms and then see a lot of our preferred vendors and our reps. And we had such a great time. I mean, High Point is just that moment to recharge your, creative
juices. I saw your email that auto, forwarded or something, and you said that, and I was like, that's perfect, because this is how we continue our education, because it's not just here are all the pretty things. It's like they teach you. They have so many different great speakers there.
There's a lot of great keynote speakers and webinars and events to attend to really, they've got every topic imaginable. I mean, there is something there for everyone. And I was talking with another designer there at High Point, and she had a genius idea. She brought her team, and one day there were 2 events going on at the same time that she wanted to go to. So she went to one and she let her team member go to the other. So I'm like, that is brilliant. Like, why did I think that? But yeah, High Point is definitely extremely valuable. I want to make it a point to attend at least once a year because, like you said, it's not only is it a lot of fun and we love seeing all the new product, but it's extremely educational and very important for us to, keep up with the industry and connect with our peers.
So did you guys all match when you went?
We were definitely coordinated.
Oh, dude. Well, it makes sense because you guys are a team there. And also, I feel like I'd get lost and I'd have to look like, okay, where's like the green emerald shirt? And we're all wearing emerald. Emerald was a big signature color for you when we did our branding.
It was, as designers, we love so many colors. So you really helped me hone in on the branding and consider like that luxe feeling, something that's timeless, because I did mention to you is like I have this tendency to get tired of things quickly. I don't know if it's but just when I've tried to do my graphics in the past, and of course I'm no graphic designer, that's why I needed you desperately, but I didn't want something that felt trendy because that didn't reflect my brand. So I wanted to make sure it was something that I'm going to love for the next 5 to 10 years from now. And that was a big part of it. It's honing in on what are the colors, what's the aesthetic, what's the vibe, that, matches that. So it was tough. I was so grateful for you.
You were so good at homework though. Like, you were just the best when it came to anything that I sent your way. You were very thorough with it, and not all my clients are. So you were really, really, really good with everything. So I appreciate all of the hard work you did. And literally what you just said is kind of what you do in spaces. You tell your clients, like, we're going to make something that's going to, be authentic to you and last, for years to come. So you don't get tired of it.
Exactly. Yeah, and so it's huge that my branding also reflects that.
Yeah. Yes, double duty. Okay, yeah. I know we're both not pushing trends on our clients, but at the same time, what trends did you see at High Point?
Well, and don't get me wrong, I love knowing what's going on in the industry. I love the new products that come out. I just don't want the entire room to be full of that trend. Yeah. I don't want to look at a space and be like, oh, that was, totally 2020, or you recognize it, right? The bathrooms of the 90s. It's like, okay, pink tiles, carpeted floors, and brass, like bright brass fixtures. Yep, that dates it instantly. So that's what I'm trying not to do when I design timeless interiors. But as far as the trends at High Point, we saw amazing things. I think some stuff we kept continually seeing were very interesting shaped, like sectionals that were not just like an L shape or straight, like they kind of came out at like an angle instead of a curve. So I was like, okay, that could be really cool in a open floor plan, so you can kind of divide the space differently. We saw a few of those. So I was like, okay, this is new. Lots of natural materials, leather, stone, a lot of blown glass. We saw so much Murano glass everywhere, and I'm obsessed with it.
Yes.
One of my favorite things that we saw was at Vanguard. It was a chat height table. So it was in between the height of a cocktail table and a dining table height. So it's a little taller than a cocktail table, a little shorter than a dining table. And it was chat height. So you could kind of just hang around and casual, have your drink, your coffee, or your laptop, hang out with friends, like conversation height. I loved it. I was like,
I'm trying to picture this because I have a bar stool table. It's not counter height, it's bar stool height. So it's pretty tall. So it's somewhere in between those two?
No, it's shorter than a dining table.
What?
So it's shorter than a dining table, but higher than a coffee table. So, it must have been like 24 inches high or so.
Wow.
But it did. So they had a whole grouping around the table with some swivel chairs, and it was very comfortable. It did kind of feel like it made you want to have a conversation. I don't know. I really thought it was exciting. It's the little things, right?
That's perfect, because with the ORC that's going on right now, I'm actually collaborating with another designer, Stephanie from Stephanie at Home Interiors, and we were doing the kitchen, and she wants to help me with my adjacent space, and it's kind of a hodgepodge of, we don't know what to put there, so everything from other rooms have just kind of accumulated to that spot. And she's like, well, how do you want to use the space? You know, she's treating me like a client, and it's just like, because I'm the one who's going to live here. Like, I want to, you know, come and sit here, because right now that's the bar stool height that I have. So we have two tall stools and then the bar stool, and you walk up to it and you can like set your hands and like talk, but people don't really want to sit all the way up high. Yeah. So that's what we were like trying to think of, like, well, my niece and nephew come here and it's low. They love low beanbag chairs, you know, like or even being on the floor. So now I'm curious to ask her, like, hey, should we explore this? What you said it was chat height scale for the chairs and the coffee table.
Yeah, I think the chairs were normal seat height. Okay. And then it was just the table, but there's something, I mean, we know the psychology of the space can really influence what you do in that space. So there was just something about the arrangement of that round chat height table with 4 swivel chairs around it that did kind of encourage you to just feel like, okay, I'm just going to sit here and have a conversation. And it felt casual. It didn't feel formal. It was interesting. I really thought, I was like, okay, this is kind of genius.
No, that's like what we need, because we're trying to think, like, I thought, okay, the tall is easy for people to walk up to, you know, but we're not having cocktails in my house, really. People aren't entering and then like gravitating to that area because of the stools being so high. And then it's like, well, my niece and nephew like low, but I can't do that anymore. You know, like I need posture, I need a back. Like,
totally.
So now I'm like interested in this idea, because we were trying to think of some fun, you know, approachable seating, you know, that's still wacky, because my house is Pee-wee's Playhouse, but you know, that's not uncomfortable for like me or even my parents who come over. So I kind of think that's ingenious. I was just thinking, you know, you would mention some cool appliances or I don't know what, but now I'm like, oh my God, I need to pick your brain about this.
I know we took a photo, so I'll look for the picture to share it with you, but it was, I think, the psychology of it. So I think that would be such a cool solution for your space, and definitely get your, you know, creative chairs that fit your vibe. And it's, I think it's totally worth looking into. I was very excited about the chat height.
Well, I mean, when you said sectionals and like different shapes, and I'm thinking like abstract shapes, like Jonathan Adler's really cool curved couch that's, you know, an homage to like the 60s, like the Elvis Presley, you know, how he designed his cool abode, had those really cool like swag lamps and the curved, you know, sectionals. And I thought Jonathan Adler really brought that into like the new age. But this is completely different, right? You're saying it's more angular?
Yeah, it's more angular, not curved. And so and one of them, they called it like a cuddle chase, like on one side. So it was still a modular sectional. So still came in pieces that you could, you know, mix and match for different shapes and customization. But some of the pieces, the back was at an angle. And so they would kind of line up like diagonally, kind of like a polygon or something. Like,
yes,
it was cool because it created more like nooks and crannies. You know how a lot of people love the corner seat in the sectional because it just hugs you like from both sides? Well, with that shape, now there's a few more of those little areas for you to kind of snuggle into, and it changed the depth. So some parts of the sectional were deeper than others. So it kind of creates a space that if you have a family that can't agree on some are tall, some are shorter. You've got kids, you've got pets. You can't agree on what everybody wants. That could be a cool solution.
Oh my gosh. No, that's so cool. I wonder if there probably is some highlights of High Point that I could check out. But I mean, on your social media, were you doing like stories or maybe even a recap post of what happened at High Point?
Yes, we have content literally for days. So far we've got one reel up, but we have a lot more to show of everything that we experienced at High Point. There was literally so many things. I mean, we were there for 3 days. So we've got lots of exciting posts coming up to share all the fun things that we saw. And I think, speaking of social media, I did want to touch on my Instagram for a moment, because I was scrolling through the other day and I found, before we started working together, and then I mean, there's a transition. Like, if you go on my Instagram, you will know. You will see it. It's
and it's at Slate Studios ID.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah,
that happens with just about every one of my clients, that you can see when we started working together, before Amanda and, after Amanda.
But it was great because before Amanda was trying to do what everybody else was doing. These kind of very high exposure, very bright photos, kind of the vanilla. And then after Amanda, it was my brand. It's authentic. It's not just design. It's also lifestyle things, my team, our experiences. I wanted it to feel different, to set my brand apart and be more authentic to me. And that resonates now. So I'm so grateful for that, because it's night and day, and it's amazing what you helped push me to do, to come out of my shell and be authentic. It's amazing.
Well, I remember one client that wanted to work with me because she loved just my branding and my vibe. And she said, when I read your website, I felt like you were talking, I could hear you just, it was very casual and conversational. Same with your social media. I just feel like I already have gotten to know you, but I'm afraid, are you going to be all crazy with my branding? And it's no, it's all about how you treat your clients, from Slate Studios, is just, what makes you you, we're just going to unveil, peel back those layers and get to the heart of you and what all that is. I don't know yet, but, as long as the client is willing to be honest and let go of I think we talked about this before, of that cliche kind of interior design, person that we have to showcase, or those certain photos, that you took, we have this kind of stereotypical, I think, version, and we're all different, just like our clients. So why shouldn't we in our industry showcase that? And we definitely did. I'm super excited, because it wasn't necessarily about me pushing, you need these colors or you need to do it this way. You were guiding me. The more we learned about you and the clients that you wanted to serve and the projects you really wanted to work on, it was you're leading the way into everything that unfolded. And you were so good with the homework. Honestly, I just want to reiterate that. And if you're good with the homework, I mean, you're only going to get more out of it, which you did.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're totally right about that. You never forced me to do something. It was me driving it, but it was you that were you were opening my eyes to approaching it differently. And I fully believe everything in life, you get out of it what you put into it. And so it was an investment. It was huge. It was a pivotal moment for my company. I was not gonna just half-ass it, right? I was it's incredibly important, and it helped me in so many ways to gain clarity. But you're right. You never ever forced me or made me feel like I had to do anything that I didn't want to do. But thank you
for reading that line off of the script I sent you earlier.
You know marketing, and that shows. I actually totally agree with when you go to your website and your branding, I felt like I knew you. I saw your site and I'm like, if anybody can help me, it is Amanda. I'm like, I knew instantly. I'm like, she's the one for me. I love this. She's authentic. She's unique. She's just, I could tell. I was like, you were extremely talented, and it just showed before I even met you or talked to you. And that was what I wanted for my brand too.
Yes, and I love that. That's the perfect way to put it, because I have some people that are like afraid, like, oh no, are you gonna flood my feed with like yes and like crazy colors and stuff? And it's just like, no, like I'm just gonna learn more about you, and that's gonna unfold in your brand, because 100% none of my clients really have themselves a part of their brand. Like you weren't really in there when we first met, and that's when I started getting to know you. It's like, wow, you're so cool. You're way cooler than how you're showing yourself, on social media or your website. And when you talked about often,
I'm like, I don't know if I'm that cool.
No, are you kidding? Like night and day. The more I got to know you, it was like, like we really need to run with this. We're going in this whole other direction that is all things Katie. Even your branding, when we're working on the photos, that was really fun. I don't think I had that much fun with a client, with their photos and stuff like that, because we talked about outfits, locations, and just the vibe. And the photos really help set the tone to all of your marketing materials. Like it just does. And you were so open to, like, okay, my projects don't really reflect the new direction that I want to go. And like you said, not to say they were bad projects or anything like that. It was just not reflecting your true, I think, level of like, okay, I'm going to dig deeper with my clients that really want that. Those clients before probably weren't, I don't know. But now, like, you guys dig so deep and you get to the root of that client, and it just becomes this amazing experience. Like you said, design therapist, right? And then also, like with your team now, they're injecting all this creative juices that you didn't have. So it is a little lonely when you're just a solopreneur, and look at you, you got a freaking team now.
Yes. Thank you so much. It does. It's great. It really does help push you creatively and bounce ideas off of each other and come up with more interesting solutions. But regarding the branding photo shoot, I mean, that was so incredible. Like, you opened my eyes, because before I had my branding photography was nice. It was well done. But it was very like posed and felt forced and felt a little professional and kind of stuffy, and it didn't feel like me. And so we really worked on that. I mean, that was a big part of my branding, was that photo shoot. I don't think I slept the night before the photo shoot, because I was so
You didn't tell me that. Oh my gosh, I didn't know.
Like, there was, that nervous energy, like where you're kind of, it's Christmas morning, you're excited, but then it's like first day of school, like, so it was all the feelings. But it, I think, really complements my brand and the website, and without it, I don't think it would have, it wouldn't have turned out as successful without that photo shoot and how much energy we put into the planning of it up front.
Yeah, we looked at locations and outfits, and I think I maybe overwhelm my clients with how important this is, because they've either done it in the past before and just don't think it's quite a big deal. But that's where, when you brought up the feed for your Instagram and the projects that you had, I mean, what you put out is what you're going to get more of. So you were kind of like most of my clients, kind of in this stuck loop of like, well, this is, kind of the projects that I'm getting, and you putting it out there, and you're going to get more of that. So we needed to break that cycle and give you more flavorful, projects and a luxury kind of style that was heightened to what you were previously working on. So the photos speak, louder than words sometimes, and really just nailed all of that together. And oh my gosh, I'm so glad you were open to doing that because, as you just said, it made all the difference. Like, because we can't go back to your previous projects. They're vanilla. They're not, the new direction that you wanted to go to. So it turned into, well, let's, check out some and scout locations that kind of exude that luxury vibe that you totally have now.
Yeah, I could not have said it better. Like, really, that's it. Summed it up perfectly. Cherry on top. I mean,
well, you were scouting and I was helping, but I mean, you found the great locations and the photographer really nailed it. And the outfits, like, oh my gosh. And people don't get that you should, have multiple outfits so that you don't have to okay, we got to shoot in like another 3 or 4 months, a whole nother thing. Like, no, just switch your outfits, change location, you guys went to maybe 3 or 4 different spots that day, right?
Yes. And they were all within walking distance. So it wasn't anything crazy, but it did give me a lot of variety so we can still continue to make content and marketing materials. And, when I have interviews or local magazines, now I have pictures that I'm proud of and I want to show off because they're so good.
Yeah. I love your pictures. Oh my gosh, you're definitely, that was the most fun for planning with a client were your pictures.
We did put a lot of energy into it, but it shows and it paid off.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. So what's going on in your personal life? We talked about your business, the growth, and some projects, the field trip to High Point Market. What's happening with Katie behind the scenes?
Behind the scenes. So things have been great. My fiance and I, we bought a house in October, and this was huge. We shopped for months, and we found a house in our dream neighborhood. I mean, I'll spare you of the details of what it took for us to close on this house because that was a fiasco. But I believe that if it's meant to be, it will be. And so we are here now, and we just couldn't be happier. It really was just a goal that we had both been working so hard towards to buy a house together. And so accomplishing that, it's oh my God, this is awesome. But then there's the added pressure because we got engaged in February of last year. And so we kept telling each other, okay, well, after we buy a house, we'll figure out what we're going to do about a wedding. When we get married. I was okay, we bought a house in October. We need to get working on that. It's been busy.
Yeah.
But I think.
Well, I mean, wedding is one day. The house should be 20, 30 years, hopefully, so that's where it's kind of okay, if you're going to put your money somewhere, I think you guys made the right call with the home.
Yeah, that's how we felt, is we didn't want to put a lot of money into a wedding. We've got a really intimate family, and my family is spread all throughout the country, so it's hard for everybody to get together. So it was
I remember because we worked on your about your dad, and there was a little bit about your mom, but I don't know, about the rest of everybody. And I know you definitely have been bouncing around before you landed in Florida. But I mean, how far away is everybody?
Oh my gosh, they're everywhere. I've got family in Idaho, Arizona, California, then Virginia, I've got Ohio, all over the place. So this would be
a destination wedding for sure, right? If you had everyone come to Miami.
I think something like that would be awesome. Or we're also kind of tossing the idea around of just being a little selfish and having a small ceremony and taking the money we would spend on the wedding and going and taking our dream honeymoon trip. And
I like that. Where would that be?
So we've been throwing some ideas out there. It's okay, do we want to go somewhere that's romantic and relaxing, maybe Hawaii? Or do we want to go somewhere and do a lot of sightseeing, Europe, and go to Greece or maybe Italy and, do all that? I know. So we were just talking the other night. And we're okay, it's almost May. We need to figure something out. But all I know is I'm so fortunate with my business. Like, creating Slate Studios was one of the best things I've ever done. And having at the time, he wasn't my fiance, but having him to support me through that, like, I wouldn't have been able to do it without his support. And so I'm just beyond blessed with my family, with my fiance. I've got 2 bonus boys. They're stepsons, and
How old are they now? Oh my gosh, I remember putting in their photos on the About page. They were so cute, like, and I bet they're like so tall now.
Oh yeah, they're totally hitting their growth spurt. Our 16-year-old and 13-year-old, they're totally in their teenage phase. But they just bring so much joy to my life, and I'm so happy. I mean, like, I'm the happiest I've ever been in my entire life. Really, it's just, and you helped me with understanding my business, and having that clarity really has an impact on, my mood,
the rest of everything,
and confidence, and
it trickles down. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I do tell clients on the discovery call, like, this is going to be eye-opening and life-changing. Like, we're not just going to give you a new logo. Like, I know that's why you came here. You just want, a refresh on your website or a new logo, but there's so much more to, like you said earlier, like, you want to start in the middle, right? And I'm like, we got to back up. So thank you for being open to that and putting up with me, because I did push you a lot. I push all of my clients. And look at you now.
It's good. We need that tough love.
Oh, okay. Well, I have to ask about your cats, because sometimes when we had our video calls, there'd be one of the cats, coming out of the desk. And I'm like, I love cats.
I know. You said to invite them to the podcast, but they were naughty this morning. So I'm sorry. I had to lock them out. But, they're doing great. One of my kitties, his birthday was actually just the last weekend, and he's 5 now. I'm like, oh my gosh.
No.
Time goes so quickly. But yeah, they're my little cuddle bugs. I love pets, and I think that, having your little companion, it just brings so much joy and purpose. We were actually watching, like, the blue zones and how to live to be 100, and I've been kind of researching that, and one of the things that they had found is that people with pets tend to live longer, like having a companion, whether it's a dog or a cat or whatever, a bird. I don't know, people love like reptiles, but having something to care for, and that gives you that, like, it's kind of that unconditional, like, love. You could never really be upset at your pet. Like,
it's very hard to.
Yeah, you're still like, oh, but you're my baby. Fun fact. Pets help you live longer.
Oh, thank you so much for being on the podcast. This is Peer2Peer, where we just talk with all the industry peers and talk industry, all things industry. And Katie is just such a rock star, so I needed you to be on this. So thank you so much for agreeing to it.
Oh, thank you for having me as a guest. This was so fun. I always love reconnecting with you.
Feel free to reach out with any questions anytime. I'm super excited to always get to know my community of e-designers and interior designers. If you have any topic requests, be sure to also send those my way. I'm super excited to create episodes that are going to help you guys, my peers. So Peer2Peer, thanks again.